Okay guys, so I'm going to try and do a little bit more filming. I'm going to polish up these forks before I put on the mud guard. It just makes sense. I've got some Ultrasol dabbed on. I've got a wet sponge on the drill. I'm going to see if this works enough. Normally you'd use like a mother's metal polish, but I don't have any, so it has to be Ultrasol. And it has to be this drill. Shake off the water I put on and slow this bad boy down. Some more on. I'm actually running out. I need to buy some, but I also need to just order some actual metal polish so that we're not spending so much money. Now I think this will do the majority of the work, and then we will do the Ultrasol by hand, and I think it will come up quite nicely. Now my hope is when I buff this off that it will look fairly shiny, but I think with a bit of Ultrasol by hand it will be even better. Funny enough, it's not that shiny actually, it's more smooth. So I reckon the Ultrasol by hand will bring that right up. Same on the other side, so this is it now. I'm going to do the same on the other side using the buffing pad. Then I'm going to Ultrasol by hand. We'll see how shiny we can get it. So they're nice guys, they've come out nice. They're not as shiny as I expected. To be fair, I haven't focused on this side as much, but they're like 50 times better I would say than they were. This is the kind of thing Nat or Nick would be able to do in no time. They would just, I don't know what they would do, sand and polish maybe, or just super polish, but it's also the thing that I kind of can't do, and I'm not that fussed actually. I'll make it look better. It's quite shiny now. It might need, like, I don't know, maybe once I've done this a few times, a coat of wax maybe might bring out a bit of shine, I don't know. I'll ask them. But that is the kind of things that we're looking at. Next, the exhaust. This is it, this is the time. Almost putting the exhaust off a little bit, just because I think it's quite complex. Well, I say I think it's quite complex, it's complex. But you can't avoid things forever. So I'm going to get the exhaust out. My aim is to get it all kind of back in and seated at the top. And then I don't know at the back, maybe I need to get it kind of bolted at the back first, and then I need to see if I can do the bridging somehow while it's on and underneath and secure, so that there's no movement within it. I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to get it out. So this is the exhaust, guys. It had one fair size hole here that we did patch with solder and heat. There's a tiny pinhole still there. It's going to have to be gum or something similar. If I can find some of my GB World steel stick or something, that will be perfect. But these are kind of the conditions they're in now. I'm not too worried about the end cans. They're not dented. They will polish up beautifully. That's kind of, I have no huge concerns there. I'm not concerned about the stainless steel to the top. They're going to be wrapped. That's the simple. It's going to be wrapped all the way up. And then the middle piece here to here, I've got a joint in there that basically over wraps. It goes around it and holds it together, and gum, and then exhaust wrap on top. So in theory, we should be able to get this exhaust on today, polished, bridged, with no holes in it at all. In theory, there should be no issues there. That's kind of what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to get the drill whites here. I'm going to give it a bit of a polish. In fact, no, I'm going to give it a bit of a polish by hand and see how well we can get it up. So it's not that side we're worried about, but of course we'll need to do this side as well. It's mainly the other side. So let's get these end cans polished. The wrap can come all the way up to here, so I'm not worried about the wrap at this stage. It's just the end bits need polishing. So it's polished up nice, guys, but not perfect. Anyone who knows me knows I like originality. I'd rather keep the original products as long as they've got life left. The pitting ruins it, but I think it's okay. Again, it's another situation. If the guy wants perfect new end pipes, when he gets the bike back, he can buy them. I know that sounds bad. I'm not making lots of money out of this. I'm doing this because I want to. The sale of that T-Max, which isn't selling anyway, you know, won't include £400 or £500 for a pair of end cans or a full system, and that's if you can find one. That's the truth. So yeah, it's going to be polished. It's going to go back on. It's going to look better. It's not going to look perfect, and I'm okay with that. So this one's kind of okay. Remember, the rest is being wrapped. I need to put a bolt through that clamp there, make sure that's done. I need a tiny little pinhole over there. I need to not forget that over there. And then I wonder if you put one side on first, make sure that's all stable and secure, then put the other side on. It's probably going to be something like that, isn't it? Should I wrap it on the bike or off the bike? I should probably wrap it now, shouldn't I? Clean them both, wrap them both. And yeah, clean them both, wrap them both, stick them on separately, and then when we do the middle bar with the gum and everything, we'll put a bit more wrap over that area separately. I think that's the plan. Right, let's get that sorted. Okay guys, so some lessons I've learnt about wrapping the exhaust over time. One is that wetting it first, soaking it actually rather than wetting it, helps it shrink or something, maybe. Daniel, let us know. And you wrap from the exhaust side up, unless my dyslexia has kicked in and I've turned it around. I think I'm right. Now, I'm going to be quite controversial on this one. I'm going to start the wrap from here. So it's going to come a little bit up the pipe. I'm not sure how that's going to look. It might look quite brutal, which is what I want. It might look stupid. If it looks stupid, cut off that bit and end it where you want, down there. But I'm going to start by wrapping it there, all the way up, kind of half lapping all the way around, all the way to the top. And then this is where it will get a bit tricky because you'll have to cut one. So I'm going to go full on the outside leg, and then I'll use a cut for the inside leg. And I'll do exactly the same on the other side. That's kind of most simple for me. So yeah, and the other thing is gloves. In the past I just do it with no gloves, but then you spend a couple of days itching because the fiberglass gets into your skin, and it's a horrible feeling actually. So soaking it helps with that a bit, and wearing the gloves will help as well. And then finally, you have to have metal cable ties. These happen to come in that pack, which is nice, but I do have a bunch in there anyway. So you do kind of one at the front. The ideal is that you do any kind of new section, so you'd have like one there for that and one at the top for that section there. But yes, it then kind of shrinks when you run the engine and kind of secures itself. I think it's a good look for certain bikes, the wrapped exhaust. It cleans it up, you know, it is a good look. So That's the look I'm going for. Okay guys, there's both of the exhaust wrapped. I used the gum on that pinhole as well, so there's no issue there. I hope this kind of wrapping is socially acceptable. Look, I wrapped the two pipes together. I've never done that before. Normally, I always separated them, but actually it seems so much easier and kind of makes more sense. Don't know. There's a radiator that covers it anyway, so you don't really see that much. I couldn't start where I wanted to start because I couldn't get the wrap around the bend. It's quite a big old bend. I was unaware of that. But this is fine. Just trim off any excess here. It was wet, so apparently it shrinks more as it dries. Obviously the bike's not running or riding, so I can't heat it up on the bike at the moment. But my aim is still to get the exhaust mounted today. Apparently Jake is on his way. I only ask 1 day every 2 weeks of him, and he still turns up late. But I mean, look at the bike, guys. For me, it's looked too stripped for too long now, though. It needs to start looking like a bike again, I think. I've got my servicing bits. We've got the new oil filter. We've got the new spark plugs. Look, Jake ordered Honda spark plugs for Kawasaki. That is not good enough. But being OEM parts, it makes sense to use them. I'll chuck them in a minute, actually, because I might wait for Jake. I've actually changed my clothes, guys. Them fiberglass bits, they're horrible. They drive you nuts. They get all in your skin and make you really itchy. So if you've used that and you've run it all over your clothes, I suggest you change them ASAP, really. Right, I'm going to attempt to get these mounted. So top tip here, guys. I need the rear end of this exhaust to be kind of close-ish to where it will finally be mounted, but I also need some flexibility to be able to work it all in the right place. So at this stage, a fairly loose cable tie that I can then tighten up as I'm moving around helps me out. So I've got enough flexibility to get it all seated at the top, get it all bolted in, then I swap that for a bolt. Keep it nice and simple, guys. Not overly happy with the shine of the exhaust yet. I'm hoping some more Ultrasol by hand makes it a bit better, but also not that fussed, if I'm being honest, guys. It's better, much better. So let me get this hanging. Let me get it kind of fixed. It's a bit of a weird system. It uses that bracket there, and then it uses these to pinch the gasket, which is already in there, and that's how you get them seated. So it's a bit of a fidgety system, but nothing to worry about, really. So guys, I've learnt my lesson as to why you can't squash them off the bike. It's because they literally are squashed together, so I can't fit them in. I'm going to have to loosen up this end here, fit them in, chuck it back on. That's kind of all I can do at this stage. It's not that far off, if I'm being honest. I could probably muscle it, but I don't want to put too much pressure on the system either. I'm in two minds. Shall I just muscle it in? I don't know, but I'm going to make it work. Okay guys, I did what I said, so that end's in. Now I'm going to get this end bolted in before fully securing this end, so that it's all kind of done at the same time. That's absolutely the best way to do it, and then it will all be nipped up and secure. At this stage, we've got the boot on up here, so that's ready to clamp, and the same thing for here, ready to clamp. But don't forget the actual clamps, these things in the middle, so that you are pressuring it, you are putting the pressure in the right direction, basically. So that's fine, that's close. It'd be nice to get one side on. The ideal is to get both sides on. And then, yeah, that was my kind of task for today. But if I can do the oil filter, in fact, it might be worth doing the oil filter now before putting the other side on, because it's under there. That might be the next step. So I'll get this side kind of bolted up properly, and then I think I'll do the oil filter while I've got some room under there. There is room under there with both on, but it just makes sense to do it now, doesn't it? Alright guys, we've got the AirPods on, and we're sorting out the exhaust. I've sprayed the brackets because they just looked rough, guys. I'm using heat to help me out because the sun has gone in. Let's see how many times Salt installs. Installed. falls and he trips. He's trying his best. Still waiting for the guy for the T-Max, coming from a long way, Wales actually, to London, quite far. So Jake, what are we doing? We are oil and spark plugs. Oil and spark plugs, that's what we're doing with our Honda replacement spark plugs. Don't ask. You spin me right round, Jake, right round.
Oh, even some gloves.
When you're ready, mate. No rush.
Well, believe it or not, it's bigger than it looks.
It's not what she said. Have you even got the new oil filter?
Huh?
That's him, look, coming back. There it is.
Right.
Well, yeah, I suggest you just literally stay there and
Thanks, Charlie.
switch and change. It's hard work doing this for 2 hours once every 2 weeks, isn't it?
It's not once every 2 hours, though. I mean,
No, once every 2 weeks.
look, unfortunately.
Are you allowed 2 hours today, or are you on a 1.5?
Oh, mate, should I have spent the day with you today?
What about yesterday? You had yesterday to spend the day with your chick.
She was out.
Yeah, so that's her fault.
Exactly. I said I've got things to do.
You should just power it off.
Yeah, it's just so on the metal one, it's quite sharp.
Oh.
There's lots of grease. or
Um,
oil.
I think it is just compressed onto the bolt.
Yeah, but I'm trying not to smash my fingers at the same time.
There it is. It's nice you got a good high flow one. It's worth getting the good parts. Oh, the new one looks. Is the new one taller?
No, exactly the same.
Perfect, spot on, mate.
Just cleaner.
To be fair, the old one don't look bad either.
Yeah. But,
Oh yeah, actually, it would have been sitting 7 years, wouldn't it?
yeah. Hold on. Let me have a look at these O-rings.
The new one comes with it, doesn't it?
Yeah,